He prayed over me, and in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to let this guy pray over me. I'm going to shut up. And when he started praying over me, the Holy Spirit came into my heart and radically changed me.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another Life podcast. I'm here with my good friend John Padula, and man, I just like to get to know people and hear their story. And so, man, let's get to it.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, why don't we start off by just getting to know you, who you are, how long have you lived in the area?
I was born and raised in Shoshone County and Kootenai County.
Oh,
I've
cool.
pretty much been here my whole life.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I as well. It seems like, with how big our area, well, I say big comparatively speaking from when we grew up, how now it's very rare that you find someone here that's been here for their entire lifetime.
Absolutely.
So good deal. Well, hey, thanks for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Mom, dad, brothers, sisters. What about your family?
My father passed away 2 years ago. My mom's in Silver Valley still, and I have an older sister who's down in Moscow, down in Latah County.
Oh, okay. Wow. So, you're like here. Yeah. Even all the family's still here. Good
Yes,
deal. Good deal. Schools in the area? Which schools did you go to or whatever?
I went to school in the Silver Valley, Pinehurst Elementary. Moved over here when I was, I believe, 12 years old. Went to Canfield for a while, then went to Lakeland, and because bad life choices, that was the end of my school, 7th grade.
Okay. So good deal. Gosh dang. So what was it like growing up? Well, Silver Valley, actually, those are your younger years. What was Silver Valley like back then?
It was rough.
Well, which part of Silver Valley?
I was in Kingston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, it seems like obviously if you're from here, it seems like you have friends, all over the North Idaho area. So definitely heard stories about this, about the Silver Valley.
They're true.
Yeah, good deal. I've always been here, like either Post Falls or Coeur d'Alene or whatever. So you got to Lakeland and Canfield for a while, then Lakeland. And then, if you don't mind, bad choices. I'm going to expand on that. Talk to me.
When I was 12, my parents divorced, and I just went off the deep end. I got really angry, got around the wrong crowd, started using drugs. When I was 13, bad choices. I was just angry at the world, angry at myself, angry at my family and my parents, and ended up getting kicked out of school in 7th grade for selling these, they were like little speed pills that they would sell online, and ended up moving to Las Vegas with my dad for about a year and a half, and just really rebellious.
Well, Las Vegas isn't a tough place, is it? Just a bigger scale, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, well, good. Gosh, dang it. I don't think there's a human alive that can say they haven't made a lot of bad choices. Right. It seems like, bad choices. And, I guess what happens is sometimes we learn from them. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we learn from them quickly. Sometimes it seems like it takes us a long time to learn.
I was a slow learner.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a slow learner as well. I think that most people's skull's about this thick, and mine seems like it's like this thick. I got to get beat over the head a few times before I kind of figure things out or whatever. So, difficult choices or whatever. Talk to me about, like that. Like, I don't even know what kind of trouble you got into, but what was that like?
That's kind of where my life went. I ended up addicted to meth for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Once I had opened up that door, it was just kind of all in for me. Yeah, a lot of trouble. Got into pornography when I was 12 years old. Yeah, just really went down a rough road. So
wow.
A lot of emptiness and loneliness, and you mask that with more addiction and anger and all of that type of stuff, and you just kind of buried in that lifestyle, and you forget about that you're really a hurting, hopeless individual at that time.
Yeah, wow. But here's the deal. At some point in time, things got whatever. Some message got through or whatever, and I've known you for quite a while, and I've obviously never known that part of your life.
Right.
Yeah. So talk to me about like when did the message finally click or whatever?
I heard the gospel for the first time when I was 30 years old. After 17 years of addiction, I was absolutely lost and broken, and I heard the gospel. A gentleman shared it with me. He prayed over me, and in my mind, I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to let this guy pray over me. I'm going to shut up. And when he started praying over me, the Holy Spirit came into my heart and radically changed me.
Wow.
And he didn't explain like, hey, I'm going to pray for you. This is what's going to happen. Like, your heart's going to change. Your life is going to change. And man, I was born again, and there's no denying the gospel of Jesus Christ is the only way to have a true life change.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
that was
amazing.
December 5th of 2008. man, he's changed me ever since and keeps changing me. And yeah, the gospel, that's what it was.
Come on, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what is how significant that you're actually, what are we, 17 years later or whatever? I don't know. I can't do the math very good.
Yeah.
But now you're like, it's on December 5th. There was like definitely this point in time where things just changed or whatever. What's life been like since then?
Well, after I was born again, God just gave me a heart for those that were addicted and hurting. Started taking people into my home. I was renting a place from a lady who was just a saint. She let me do whatever I wanted there. She knew I was born again, and she basically said, whatever you do, you're fine. And so I was taking people off the streets, letting them detox in my home and that I was renting. I mean, I was in a 750 square foot little place and had 13 people at one time just detoxing on the floor.
Bucket.
Yeah, God had just given me a real desire to help those that were in the same position I was.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there's probably some stories.
Lots of stories.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And so have you been doing that kind of basically ever since? Or wow.
Never taken a break.
So 17 years. There's probably been, a couple of people that have gone through your house or whatever.
Yes. So I met my wife Amanda about 2 years later. We got married, and since we've been married, we've had 4 children. I have a 14-year-old, almost 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And since we've been married, we've had over 800 people live with us. Sometimes we had 16 men in our home at one time. And it's not like a separation, like we live in a certain spot and they kind of live in another place and program. Like our whole life was just completely, they were like our adopted kids, like they were part of the family. Since then, I think about 2 months now has been the first time in our whole marriage of almost 15 years that we haven't had people living inside of our home.
Wow.
Yeah. We have 4 guys that live in the shop on our property, and they're in the home. We have dinner and fellowship and everything, but they sleep out in the shop in their bedrooms.
Wow. So, okay, I just had to, this has just popped into my mind. So you had really a radical, life-changing experience with God where,
Yes.
I'm thinking like the whole Saul on the road to Damascus. There was an instant, there was
Yes,
a
sir.
change there. And then you meet your wife 2 years later. What was your wife's initial reaction to you saying, hey, this is what I do? How'd she take all that?
Funny story. She was an opiate addict before. And so she actually went through Pastor Tim Remington's program, The Good Samaritan. And we started getting to know each other afterwards. Actually, I fell in love with her while she was in the program. I went and told Pastor, he said, leave her alone. She's in rehab. And I was like, I can't deny, what's in my heart. Like, I love this girl. I don't even know her. And I just feel like the Lord has, touched me in a way where I know that I'm going to marry her.
Wow.
And he still said, leave her alone. She's in rehab. Let her work out her journey. Yeah, she graduated and we started getting to know each other. Although she went through Good Samaritan, she didn't get saved while she was in there. She had the knowledge of God, but was never born again. And she didn't know it. She was sober and full of life. And so we ended up getting married, and she didn't get saved till a year after we got married. And then it was radical. She struggled with the ministry, because we had people in our house and, somebody who's living in their flesh trying to live with the heart of God, it just doesn't work. And so she would get really frustrated because we'd have people in and out of our home, and we have kids now, and it was tough. But when she got saved, everything different, night and day.
So she gets saved, and then was it just like, was she all in on the ministry and all that?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, because I have 5 kids, and it's, with kids, it's chaotic enough, let alone trying to just reach out and help people at the same time while you're raising your own family. So that's amazing.
Ministry is messy, I will tell you that.
Life is messy.
Yeah.
It's just, at least if it's not, I'm probably doing it wrong.
Me too.
But it's crazy. It seems like the people that I think, oh my goodness, they've got all things put together, and then you really get to know them, and they become vulnerable, or they start to share, and it's like, oh, dude, you've got messy stuff too.
Right. Yes.
It's just, we're humans, and this is, we're oftentimes, I don't know, driven by greed and lust and all the things we're not supposed to be driven by. It seems like that's how we are.
Yeah, for sure.
So now you're in ministry now at the Altar Church. Is that correct? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. When, how long after this, or where did that come to be, or when did that kind of happen?
My heart was for outreach. I was doing outreach, and Pastor Tim and the board at the altar had me come on staff as the outreach pastor. It's something that I was already doing. I was already living it. And so they hired me on, and I've been, I think, 14 years I've been the outreach pastor at the altar.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's awesome. So 14 years as the outreach pastor. And then if I'm understanding this correctly, you're a pastor at the church, but you also have an organization called Set Apart Ministries. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. So talk to me about that. What exactly is that? Is that just the outreach type of thing? Or
That's the ministry we've done out of our home.
Okay.
So we didn't plan on it being what it is. We just started taking people in. I would take them to work with me before I was the outreach pastor, and the guys would just kind of detox in my cubicle when I was selling satellite. And sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 guys. And finally, Pastor Tim's program didn't have an outpatient house. And so I was taking guys into my home when they would graduate. And so finally, I just would ask the other guys, hey, the graduates, will you watch the guys for a day so I don't have to take them to work? And that just kind of grew and evolved into what it is today. And so Set Apart is for guys waiting to go into Pastor Tim's program. So if they have to detox, if they don't have funding, or if the bed date is a ways out, they'll come and do inpatient with us. They'll go into Pastor Tim's. And then if they're serious about that type of ministry, we'll take them back when they graduate, and they'll do their 6-month aftercare while they minister to the other guys and kind of oversee them and mentor them.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, we've had some guys live with us for 2.5, 3 years after they've graduated. And I think all 4 guys that are with us right now, one's been there for 2 years, one's been there for 2.5 years, the other one just about a year, and then one guy's been there for, I think, 6 months, just over 6 months.
And so after they've graduated from your program or Tim's program, then they'll come back and kind of help mentor people because that's amazing, because there is I don't know if it's called like a certain language, but there's just certain life experiences that maybe people that haven't, been down that road would have a difficult time, just communicating and, understanding like what addiction in that way is like. I'm pretty convinced that most people, if not all people, suffer from some type of addiction, whether it be work or whether it be, gaming or drugs, alcohol, pornography, whatever it is. Yeah. It seems like most people suffer from some type of addiction. And then the reality is some types of addiction, if some guy's addicted to his work, the difficulty with that is he gets applauded by his friends or whatever and so it gets into a further and further and further addiction. So addiction's obviously a huge issue for everyone.
Yeah, there's one answer for it. It's Jesus.
Come on.
No matter if you're a workaholic, if you gamble, if it's pornography or drugs, Jesus is the answer. He's the one who will fill that void that causes that addiction.
Yep. It's so true, because I laugh because I've done kids ministry for I don't know, let's see, I'm 50, so probably 35 years or whatever, involved in it in some way. And you'd get to, you get all the kids or whatever, and you're asking them a question. Okay, now you tell a Bible story or whatever, and okay, now who knows what the answer is? And they'll yell, well, Jesus. And you're like, okay, that's not what.
Yes, that's right.
You can't say, well, you're wrong. It's like, well, Jesus is the answer. Okay, who was the guy that how was the Red Sea parted? Well, Jesus. Well, yeah, that's right, but that's not what I was looking for. So I laugh because it's true. Yeah. Jesus is the answer, and
it's become cliche. Trust God. The answer is Jesus. It's just become words anymore. And if people would take that to heart, really, it is trust God. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and He's the one who will answer all your problems.
Yep. And I was raised in church. Probably the first Sunday I was alive, it's probably 2 or 3 days old or whatever. We went to church. That's just kind of what we did. There is a big life change, and you mentioned it when you talking about Jesus as Lord. When you give Jesus lordship, it's not just I'm giving you, hey Jesus, you're my Savior, but there's a huge difference when we decide, hey, I'm going to make Jesus my Lord. Like you're the ruler of my life. Dude, I struggle with that. Oh my goodness. I tend to see, I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. And then God, I'll come back to you a little bit, or let me figure this out. Let me figure this problem out real quick. And then I'm going to ask your help to bless it. Right. It's like, so I'm 55 and I still struggle with that. So kind of fast forwarding now, you've grew up in, you grew up, you had some difficulty, you had a life-changing experience, got into ministry. Obviously, you're on staff at the altar. You do Set Apart. You've got 4 kids. I mean, you're a busy dude. And then you decided, hey, I'm going to run for county commissioner. Talk to me about that. Like, what made you decide that?
I just see, and I didn't pay attention to this for a long time after I got saved. I didn't even see it. Like, my life was just, it was doing outreach, trying to reach the lost, the people who are addicted, but starting to see more and more how much evil is imparted into our culture through politics. And so I started paying attention a little bit more and just seeing things that were just absolutely crazy spiritually in politics, and started paying attention locally. I saw some things that were happening and just started praying about it. And, you always hear, if you want to change something, you get involved in it, right? You don't try to find somebody else to, you do it. And that's the type of person I am. If I feel like if there's something that needs to be done, I'm not going to say, hey, Dave, why don't you go do this? I'm going to do it myself. So I was watching Kootenai County Commissioners do this study on having an appointed sheriff. And I just thought that was one of the biggest wastes of time and money that I've seen in a long time. And so I started watching the county commissioners and watching what was happening, and I just felt a prick in my heart to run for county commissioner. So I ran 2 years ago. I feel like I gave it my all. I trusted God for the outcome. To me, it was a win. I didn't get elected, but I mean, we didn't compromise our values. We tried to honor Christ in everything that we did. And I feel like the Lord's told me to run again. So that's what I'm doing.
You ran 2 years ago.
I did.
Running for political office can be, no, I'm sure there were probably attacks. I'm sure there was probably, things said, some true, some not true, fabrications, whatever. And it's a lot to go through. And yet you decided, hey, we're doing it again.
Yes, my wife wasn't quite as on board this time as she was last time.
Really?
She's watched what's happened locally. I mean, there's just so much division and hate and lies and twisted truths and just so much happening. My eyes were open when I ran last time, because I thought all of us who really had the same values would be on the same page. Let's work together, pray together, let's, campaign together, even if we're running for the same seat. And I found out really fast that people have an agenda. And we're not really all on the same team, unfortunately. So my heart is to hopefully change that as much as I can and show people we don't have to be dirty and nasty and say, oh, it's just politics. That's no excuse for bad character.
No, I mean, what happened to we both running for something and me, giving my plan or my ideas, you giving your plan and your ideas, and then people deciding, hey, I kind of like these set of ideas more. I like this plan more. And then people just voting. Well,
should be that simple.
It doesn't seem that complicated, and yet it is.
I think it's because some of the people who run don't really have anything to offer, so they have to try and tear down somebody else to make themselves look good.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they have an agenda. Versus, hey, this is what I want to do. Like you said, here's my ideas, here's his ideas. We can shake hands, we can debate, we can talk, and leave it up to the voters.
Yeah, it's crazy. But my mind quickly went to that. I think there's probably some teaching or whatever, but you put, 2 little boys on a beach, a big sandy beach that's, miles and miles of sand, and you have them fill their sand bucket. And instead of, take the, multi-billion pieces of sand out of one boy will take sand out of another boy's bucket to fill his bucket. What's wrong? But maybe we haven't learned since
the heart of man.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, hey, well, there's a huge chunk of sand. I can get my own bucket full, but I really like the sand in your bucket, so I think I'm going to fill my bucket up with that.
Lord, come quickly.
Come on. So what, now you're running. So if there's someone out there watching and they're like, okay, now what can I expect? I know you feel, called to run, but like, why should someone vote for you? Why would they, okay, if I vote for John, this is what I'm going to get. What would they get?
Well, first, my heart is for the people of Kootenai County, whether they agree with my political views or biblical views or any of that. My heart is for the people. I love people. I love people who disagree with me. I love people who may even consider me their enemy. So my heart is to represent the people if I'm elected into that seat. I want to help preserve local values. I want to make sure that public safety is taken care of, that law enforcement and the prosecutor's office and those entities have proper funding to make sure that we preserve what we need to preserve locally when it comes to public service, public safety. I want to make sure if I'm in that seat that we stay fiscally conservative and be responsible with the finances that come from the taxpayers. And I want to listen to the people. My plan is to do town halls, and I would like to do them not just with me, but with the different department heads. You know, there was a lot of rumors about the airport 2 years ago when I ran, so I went and met with Gaston. Love the guy. I mean, he gave me the rundown, and what I said to him is, why don't we do a town hall and get the people who live by the airport the right information instead of what they're seeing on social media or what they're hearing from their neighbors. So I think that's important, so people have facts instead of just emotion and rumors to run on. So those are some of the things I'd like to do.
Yeah, imagine that, like actually hearing about the situation from the people that are actually in charge of the situation. Right. It's kind of crazy. But yeah. I think the default, because the easy thing is, you know, when I'm laying in bed at night, getting ready to go to bed, is I flip through social media and you read it and you're like, oh, yeah, that must be true. And like, no, just because someone put it on the internet, it doesn't mean that it's totally true. Yeah. So that sounds awesome. Kind of along the same lines. I know that's what you're running on. Let's fast forward to how long is the term? Like,
this will be a 4-year term.
4-year term. So if we fast forwarded to you got elected, and then 4 years after the election, if you were to look back and say, oh my goodness, I really feel like that was successful. I accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish, or I put things in place that I want to. What would a successful office look like to you, or what would a successful term look like to you?
I'm making sure that we don't put a heavy tax burden on the residents of Kootenai County, making sure that we were responsible with our finance. I would really like to do something with the building department, because you have people who apply for building permits and you have builders, and both of them will tell you the same thing, that the building department is tough to deal with. And I think we need less red tape, better communication, easier process for homeowners to do what they want to do on their property without it obviously infringing on their rights. Yeah, and make sure I listen to the people.
Yeah.
That's number one for me, is preserving local values.
Yeah. And as a person that's lived here, you know, my dad graduated from Post Falls High School. My grandparents lived in Post Falls. I mean, I've been here a long time, and that's obviously important to me. The reason why, you know, my wife and I, we went into college. When we graduated, we had some opportunities where we went to school over in Seattle area, but I love the people here. Yeah. I love the values. I had a great childhood. The local business people are just super cool people. You know, most of them that I've met they love our community. And I thought, man, this is where I want to raise my kids. So I'm all for preserving what we've had for, you know, not just my life, but generations.
Yeah.
You know,
growth is, I mean, it's going to happen. Right. And if we can manage growth and do it responsibly, and we can preserve Kootenai County and not turn it into some big city, I mean, that would be a big win for me. Yeah,
that's awesome. And obviously growth happens because we live in such a beautiful place. And I mean, you know, if you like the outdoors, I can't imagine a better place to live than where we live. So obviously people want to come here. Just when you come here,
you don't want to leave.
Yeah, you don't want to leave, but don't come here and try to change us into where you can. The crazy thing is, a lot of people that have come here have escaped, and they don't want what they left. It's crazy that, but we do have some that decide for whatever reason that, you know, they want it to be different. It's like, well, I left this place and I came here because it's a great place, but I'd like this place to be a lot more like the place that I left. You're like, do you hear yourself?
So yeah, I see it every day.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, man, is there anything that you'd like to say about? We've kind of talked about, you know, why you're running, why you decided to run, what you would see as a success. Anything else you want to say to anyone that's listening?
Yeah, for me, as a pastor and somebody who has experienced the goodness of God, I would want to tell anybody, put your faith in Jesus Christ. Nobody gets to the end of their life and regrets going all in for Jesus. But on the contrary, people die every day begging, begging for somebody to come in and basically either give them their last rites. They want to see a priest, a pastor. When they're on the brink of death and they do not have a relationship with Jesus, they know that something is missing. So don't waste any time. Put your faith in Christ. When it comes to politics here locally, I think that we can do better. I think that we can be more mature and we can work together even when we disagree.
Awesome. I can honestly say that I've always known you to be an open book. So, I mean, anybody that's out there, I would say, man, if you got a question of John, just contact him, ask him.
And for anybody, I mean, we've seen these insane attacks and just plot. It's insanity what we've seen lately. If you hear something about somebody, go talk to them. Right?
Yes.
If you see something about somebody, go have a conversation with them, get the whole story, get the truth, and let's stop allowing the enemy to divide Kootenai County.
Yeah, it seems so simple, but yet it's not what we choose oftentimes. Right. It's like, dude, just go ask somebody.
Yeah.
And then I've definitely heard things about, not about you, but about people. And then, like, dude, I should meet that person just to kind of see where they're at or whatever. And then you meet them and it's like, oh my goodness, this is nothing like what I heard. Well, this is what I thought. Well, I have no idea where that came from or whatever. And that, it's weird. Sometimes that 2-minute conversation can clear up, like 2 months worth of
for sure
wackiness out there. And yeah, I don't have enough energy to wake up in the morning and figure out who I can try to attack.
It's crazy.
It's like kind of just want to, I want my family to be healthy. I want my community to be healthy. I want people to, I want people to succeed. I want people to prosper. I don't have enough time to, it's not enough for me to succeed. You must fail so I can feel better about myself. I don't know where people get the energy for that.
Me either.
Life is tough, period. I don't need to worry about, or try to make something else bad so I can feel good. I don't know. Well, hey, here's the deal. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk with you, whether it's at a cup of coffee or at Day of Hope, or whatever it is. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much. And man, if you like to hear people's stories and get to know people in our community, tune in and like, share, comment, whatever you want to do. Help me get the word out. Hey, thanks a lot. We'll see you next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.